Right, so what is the problem then? Why are you so triggered by a flag? It's a rainbow flag. You mentioned Regent Street.
I'm not triggered by a rainbow flag. I'm triggered by the fact that everywhere I go for a calendar month, everything has to be a rainbow flag.
Well, I'm triggered that everywhere I go for the entire year, everything has to be straight. Why is straight everywhere?
Where's my straight flag?
Why am I constantly getting straight people?
Where is my straight flag?
Why are straight people holding hands in the street?
When have you ever seen a straight flag?
Why has Mickey Mouse got a
girlfriend? Tell me one straight flag hanging right now anywhere in the world.
Why are straight people pushing
is the straight flag?
Identity
Where's
onto
the straight
me?
flag?
Everywhere.
Where's my straight flag?
It's everywhere.
It's never been a straight flag.
You're a straight flag.
Here are 7 moments when disrespectful woke reporters were completely destroyed, starting off with a sharp takedown where a guest exposes the cracks in a reporter's narrative, and it's absolutely iconic.
Dana, I just want to go back. You were talking about, like, you obviously give a long leash to your fighters about, you know, what they can say when they are up there with a UFC microphone and you are getting into territory of homophobia, transphobia. Like, is there...
I don't give anybody a leash.
Well, I'm saying you...
A leash?
I'm like...
Free speech. And control what people say. Gonna tell people what to believe. Gonna tell people... I don't tell any other human being what to say, what to think, and there's no leashes on any of them. What is your question?
I was asking that question. I'll move on, though.
Yeah, probably a good idea. That's ridiculous to say I give somebody a leash. Free speech, brother. People can say whatever they want and they can believe whatever they want. And I don't think there's any... We had 2 gay women who fought in the co-main event. They sat on the stage with Sean Strickland. They could give a shit what Sean Strickland thinks or what he says or what his beliefs are or what his opinions are. You know what I mean? Go ahead. What do you got?
The absurdity is so over the top that it's almost like watching a live improv show where the script went missing, unexpected, and hilariously chaotic. But that's just the beginning. Next up, Elon Musk steps into the spotlight, delivering sharp and unapologetic responses that leave no room for doubt. You won't want to miss this.
Free speech is meaningless unless you allow people you don't like to say things you don't like. Otherwise, it's irrelevant. And if at the point at which you lose free speech, it doesn't come back.
I think the issue some people have is that a lot of people were brought back. I mean, some people were brought back who were previously banned for spreading things like QAnon conspiracies. You have people like Andrew Tate who were brought back, who were previously banned for things like hate speech. Do you think you prioritize freedom of speech over misinformation and hate speech?
Well, you know, who's to say that something is misinformation? Who's the arbiter of that? Is it the BBC?
You're literally asking me?
Yes.
Well, no, you are the arbiter on Twitter, because you own Twitter.
Yes, I'm saying who is to say that one person's misinformation is another person's information?
This feels less like a debate and more like a ping pong match with no clear winner. The back and forth is dizzying, yet oddly mesmerizing. But just when you think it's over, the stakes get even higher.
Who is going to decide that?
You accept that misinformation can be dangerous, that it can cause real-world harms, that it can potentially cause...
Yes, and the point I'm trying to make is that the BBC itself has, at times, published things that are false. Do you agree that that has occurred?
I'm quite sure the BBC have said things before that turn out to not be true.
Correct.
In its, whatever it is, 100-year history, I'm quite sure.
Yes. Even if you aspire to be accurate, there are times when you will not be.
We've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company. Is that
what hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter,
right?
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
but just a personal anecdote. Like, what do you? I don't.
Personally, my for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content. Yeah, personally, but I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally.
Watching this play out is like watching someone juggle flaming torches and then realize they're holding gasoline. It's bold, it's chaotic, and it's impossible to look away. But it doesn't end there.
And that
content you don't like or hateful. What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly it should be banned?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I don't.
You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore. Because I just don't particularly like it.
But you said
actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second. You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
This is what happens when overconfidence meets a lack of preparation. It's a flawless example of how assumptions crumble when challenged by even the simplest question. But the tension doesn't stop there, and the drama reaches a whole new level.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and
then how did you see that hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not... I mean, right, and
literally
you can look at something like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
This conversation has so many twists it feels like a soap opera script. Only here, the drama is unscripted and unintentionally hilarious, just like the next one.
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time. COVID misinformation. You changed the COVID misinformation
Has
rules.
BBC changed its COVID misinformation?
The BBC does not set the rules on Twitter, so I'm asking you.
No, I'm talking about the BBC's misinformation about COVID.
I'm literally asking you about, you changed the labels, the COVID misinformation labels. There used to be a policy, it then disappeared. Why do that?
Well, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations, and not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, so. You thought it wasn't?
I see now why you've done Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear. Let's talk about something else. If you want to talk about the BBC, you too. All right, let's talk about something else.
It's rare to see someone flip an interview on its head with such precision. What starts as an interrogation ends as a one-sided roast. But things are about to heat up. Next up, Sean Strickland brings his signature style to the conversation, and let's just say, it's not for the faint of heart.
We've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said, if I had a gay son, I would think I'd...
Oh, look, another, I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and someone says...
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse
Let me know, are you gay?
Can I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking, this is a part of, are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau. Like, when he sees the bank accounts, like, you're just fucking pathetic. And the fact that you have no fucking backbone, and has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that, go yourself. Move the on, man.
Confidence without facts is a special kind of theater, and Sean Strickland serves it up in style. It's a masterclass in boldness over substance. But he does not stop here.
Really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight they'll have to accept me or denounce me when they know what and will know what they stand for. Are you?
This guy's like, hey, this Canadian's not that Canadian.
Are you still going to use your fight time to kind of speak on that?
Here's the thing about Bud Light. 10 years ago, to be trans was a mental illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Chicks have. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their preference. Like, dude, this guy is the enemy. You want to look at the enemy to our world? It's that right there, asking these stupid questions.
Watching Logic get sidestepped so gracefully is almost impressive. It's like watching someone try to win a chess game with checkers moves. Entertaining? Sure, but doomed. But what comes next is pure gold.
Sorry, I told the UFC I was being nicer. Lance, am I still good with this? Did I cross any lines? A little. What the I didn't say the F word. You just brought this guy in here to piss me off.
You just did, but just to follow up, I mean, Rick.
Did I say it?
You just did.
No, I didn't say it.
Right there, you did.
Different F word. Different. Yeah. I'm trying to be good, man. I'm trying to be good. I like the gays. Here's the thing. I've never. You guys think I've ever shit on a gay man or shit on a gay woman? I don't. I like the gays. It's freedom. We still have it in America. We'll teach you about it. You guys don't have freedom of speech. I'm surprised what I'm saying is probably gonna get. I'm probably gonna get the Canadian government to arrest me. So I don't give a who you. I don't give a what you want to do in life. But don't tell kids about it. Don't teach that shit in school. Don't push your agenda. Don't try to brainwash people. Don't try to go past parents. Don't try to go up past all this shit and brainwash people.
This is the comedic equivalent of bringing a rubber chicken to a sword fight. It's awkward, it's bizarre, and it's absolutely hilarious. If you think Logic isn't entertaining, you clearly haven't seen Piers Morgan in action, proving just how wrong you are.
Right, but if anyone, according to you, can identify as a woman, anyone can, right?
I don't see a problem with it.
Just literally put the hand up and say, I'm a woman.
But it's not an easy thing to do, to go out into the world.
It's
very easy.
Easy.
You might think it's easy to say, but to decide to do that, to say,
what
this
does
is
doing
who,
it involve?
Whatever that person decides, but to
Does
go
it
out
involve
into the world and say, I don't identify as perhaps.
So why can't I identify? Okay, why can't I identify as a black lesbian?
Well, firstly, I mean, it was.
Well, I'm serious. If I can identify as anything without any need to prove I'm actually what that is, why can't I, on International Women's Day, say I'm Piers Morgan, I'm a black lesbian?
I think taking it to a kind of absurd status.
I think that's
talking about quite a
with
strong
respect, I think that
change.
you'd already opened the absurdity door by saying it is limitless. You can do what you like. Anyone can say, I'm a woman. So I simply ask you, why can't I?
The sheer disconnect from reality here is almost inspiring, but it only gets worse from here.
I mean, this point kind of ridicules trans people to an extent.
Actually, I think what you said ridicules trans people, because actually people who go through the full process of transition, who actually go through what we used to call a change, which I don't think you can muck around with original biology, but those who actually go through surgical procedure over a number of years, I've got great respect for that very difficult journey they go on. I had zero respect for people who just wallop their hand up and go, suddenly, I'm a woman and I want all the rights that a woman has and I want to compete, say in sport, I'm a 6'4" athlete, sprinter, swimmer, whatever, who's competed very mediocrely in male sport. I now want to come in and crush women in swimming pools and in sprinting events and break all their records, perhaps irrevocably, just by saying, I'm a woman. I think that is the absurdity you were talking about.
The conversation here feels less like a debate and more like a stand-up routine gone wrong. The logic gaps are so wide that you could drive a truck through them, but just when you think it's over, it gets even more intense.
I think that we lost people right at the beginning when gay people were dying in the streets because no one was looking out for us. So actually what we're doing right now is just, I wouldn't even use the word celebrating. I think Pride is a protest.
Is it a bit too much? In other words, do you want to...
What does that mean? What is too much?
In other words, I think with every campaign, bringing people with you is really important, right? The moment it looks like it's just over the top, like it's everywhere you go is pride, 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 pride. Do we need to be that exuberant about it?
Are you blaming gay people for that? I mean,
no.
It's our fault the companies...
Honestly, I don't care what he is. I don't think most people do anymore.
Right, so what is the problem then? Why are you so triggered by a flag? It's a rainbow flag. You mentioned Regent Street.
I'm not triggered by a rainbow flag. I'm triggered by the fact that everywhere I go for a calendar month, everything has to be a rainbow flag.
Well, I'm triggered that everywhere I go for the entire year, everything has to be straight. Why is straight everywhere?
My straight flag?
Why am I constantly getting straight people?
Where is my straight flag?
Why are straight people holding hands in the street?
When have you ever seen a straight flag?
Why has Mickey Mouse got a girlfriend?
Tell me one straight flag hanging right now anywhere in the world.
Why are straight people
Where is the straight flag? Where's the straight flag?
Everywhere.
Where's my straight flag?
It's everywhere.
It's never been a straight flag.
You're a straight flag.
This is the verbal equivalent of shadowboxing. Wild swings, no connection, and a lot of unnecessary effort. You can't make this stuff up, but that's not all. Things are about to get interesting as Pierre Poilievre steps in. Spoiler, this isn't going to end well for the other side.
Are transgender people welcome in Canada now that the Conservative Party, it's policy not to let them use the bathroom of their choice and also to limit their healthcare options as minors?
That is, the answer, of course, is that everybody's welcome in Canada, and your question is factually wrong. I encourage you to actually read the policies instead of spreading disinformation. We need less disinformation and more honesty and truth-telling, and your readers are suffering a very big disservice when you spread disinformation. Thank you.
Seems like watching someone try to win a race by running in the wrong direction. The disconnect is as baffling as it is entertaining, leaving everyone wondering what the goal even was. If you think this exchange was blunt, just wait. Up next, when Vivek Ramaswamy takes on a debate with no facts and all the confidence of a cat walking on a keyboard. It's a must-see.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction.
Watching someone flip the script this hard is like seeing a plot twist in a movie you thought was predictable. It's relentless, unapologetic, and absolutely interesting. And his next argument takes the absurdity to an entirely new level.
You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games.
This is a masterclass in dodging a trap door while the person who said it falls through themselves. The energy here is strangely satisfying. When Ben Shapiro enters the room, debates become lessons. And trust me, the next one is a lesson you won't want to miss.
Do you think that women who voted for Hillary, women who have strongly supported the feminist movement and supported the left, are feeling disenfranchised given the current climate of brutality and oppression brought to light in Hollywood recently?
So I think that people have a willingness to blind themselves to facts that they don't want to see. And so what I've seen a lot is people saying, well, the problem with harassment isn't unique to Hollywood and has nothing to do with our culture regarding the leftist culture regarding No, it has to do generally with men. Right? It has to do generally with American society. It has to do generally with power relationships. It's funny how everybody is willing to generalize as soon as their ox is gored. right? As soon as the left sees, wait, our culture, our feminist culture that we said that we were going to promulgate and was going to protect women, hasn't protected women, nearly at all, then all of a sudden it turns into, well, it's not us that sin, it's men that sin.
I must say, a perfect storm of irony and denial, where everyone tries to pass the blame like a hot potato. The mental gymnastics on display are nothing short of impressive, but this exchange is far from over.
Right, and so I've been getting a lot of this online in the last couple of days. It's you men who haven't stood up, and I keep saying, like, what do you want me to do, and I'll do it. Really, what do you want me to do? Like, if you show me a like Harvey Weinstein allegedly is, then I will say send him to jail or castrate him, right? Like, this is not difficult. But if you just say to me, you don't acknowledge the culture, again, I need you to define that, and I need you to explain to me what I did. Like, really? Like, I didn't do anything. And I think the vast majority of people in this room didn't do anything. And if they did do something, then maybe people should report it to the police, because that seems to me the best way to root out evil is to actually have law enforcement get involved. So the left is, so the question of what the left is doing about this, do they feel disenfranchised? No, I think they're just going to blame the same people they always blame, because we're all in our own little bubbles. Should they feel disenfranchised? 100%. Because in a society that treats as transactional, in a society that basically reduces to any sort, just a physical transaction that is based solely on consent, it makes it very difficult to explain why it is that the casting couch in Hollywood is bad per se. Right? There's actually, like, feminist theory says that it's bad because of power imbalances, but the sort of libertarian culture of the left suggests that power imbalance doesn't have anything to do with it. If I feel like trading my body for a part in a movie, well, that's my business. And if you say differently, then you're slut-shaming me.
This isn't just an argument, it's a cultural clash in real time. The tension here is palpable, and the humor sneaks in at the most unexpected moments. And he's got plenty more to say.
Right, so that's, well, you can't really have it both ways. Either it's bad or it's not bad. And if we are going to fight harassment and assault, it seems to me that we have to do a couple of things. One, we have to reinvest with value beyond just a physical transaction. It's not just two people who are getting each other's rocks off. It actually means something beyond that. There's a relationship that's attached to it. And beyond that, I think that we need to re-inculcate in men themselves, not just the teach men not to routine. Like, again, it's such a weird concept. Like, when I was 11, my dad didn't sit me down and say, son, don't people. Like, if you have to teach your child that, my guess is that you got a bigger problem than that on your hands.
The contradictions here stack higher than a Jenga tower on shaky ground, and it only gets better from here.
What my dad taught me was to be a gentleman and to treat women with respect. And that has to do with being a gentleman and recognizing differences in roles. Because one of the things that's happened is that traditional masculinity, the idea that it is a man's job to protect women, this is one of our jobs as human beings, as men, to protect women, the feminist movement doesn't like that. Well, then you can't blame us for not protecting women if you don't want us to protect women. Like, I want to protect women. I think men should protect women. I think one of the reasons God put man on earth is to protect women. Okay, well, then it is incumbent on me to protect women. But if you're telling me that I can't even open a door for a woman because this is somehow an offense to her honor, and that if I say that it's man's job to protect women, that this is somehow reinforcing gender stereotypes, then don't come whining to me when bad stuff happens. Because the answer to bad behavior is good behavior. The answer to vice is virtue. The answer to vice isn't just yelling and hashtagging crap.
When the conversation hits this point, it's hard not to admire the sheer wit on display. And honestly, Shapiro's calm yet cutting response is the perfect way to expose just how misguided the entire exchange really is. And that's a wrap. Which moment was your favorite? Drop your thoughts in the comments.